So good morning and welcome to the contractors meeting here in August. Um, I think we'll go ahead and just get started. We have lots of information, lots of sharing going on today from different organizations, lots of exciting things going on. So I think we'll go ahead and get going. Nikki has been working closely with ZLR, and she's going to introduce them and talk a little bit about what they'll be presenting. So I'm going to pass it on to Nikki.
Morning, everyone. As you might remember, last year during the pandemic, when clients weren't coming into clinic for face-to-face services, we chose to redirect our nutrition education budget that we would normally use to purchase the incentives for you guys to give to your participants towards a project instead. So the state of Iowa has a contract with ZLR Ignition, which is a marketing communications firm. And what we did was begin working with them on a campaign that was kind of twofold. We wanted to recruit and retain WIC participants, especially at that point in time, to get the word out about WIC to families that maybe hadn't ever used or heard about our program before, but because of the impact of COVID, we're becoming eligible for our program. But we also wanted to learn more about our participants so we could do more targeted messages and provide the services that our families are wanting. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lou, Katie, and Scott from ZLR, and I'll let them introduce themselves and take it away. And I think they're going to present their presentation. So you can go ahead and share your screen and take it away. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Nikki. I'm Lou Laurent. I'm an account manager at ZLR Ignition. One thing that we did last year is we really wanted to see how WIC was doing as part of an objective. So what we did is we did some qualitative and quantitative focus groups and surveys to really kind of evaluate how everything was going. And if you've ever been in one of those meetings, you get a lot of information, a lot of different directions of kind of where to go. And we took a step back and we wanted to see what we can actually do with the materials. And so I brought in Katie, who is our lead strategist here at ZLR Ignition, to really go through the research and really kind of pinpoint what we can do with it. And I'm going to let Katie kind of take it off from here.
Okay, am I unmuted? Can you guys hear me? Yep, great. And can you
unmuted, but it's in the version where you can still see your slides on the side.
So how about that?
Perfect.
Better? Yeah, as both Nikki and Lou said, we got the information that we wanted to out of the survey relative to understanding gaps in service or places where things could be improved or where WIC was really doing an excellent job. But when we looked at the data, we started to wonder if we couldn't identify different types of users of WIC services and garner some insights relative to how we could approach, either communicate, design programs, develop different things, and sort of use the research to also propel some of our marketing efforts and communication efforts. And so we took the data and basically developed personas and user journeys. And I think a lot of you probably were exposed to both the results from the qualitative and the quantitative research when the report outs happened, I believe last year. But this was one of the outputs that we were able to create relative to that. And so the assignment that we created was to develop 2 to 4 personas using the quantitative research data, and then to create a user journey map to help us understand what are some of the pain points that are going on as someone moves through either a life stage, and or their relationship with WIC. And so what kind of opportunities could we understand based on that? And again, we wanted these tools to be accessible and available to all of you to be able to think about marketing communications, training, program development, just getting an insight, a deeper, richer insight into who your, I guess, customers actually are. So I'm going to take just a couple minutes to talk about sort of how we made the clock, I guess, instead of telling you what time it is, but we're going to do both. But I just wanted to reinforce that we used the data to be able to inform these personas and to create it. And so I'll give you a little bit of background on that, and then we'll get into how we actually brought them to life. But we called them mom personas. We spoke mostly with female participants or previous participants in the WIC program. There was a small sample of fathers or dads, but it wasn't large enough for us to draw any conclusions relative to specifically creating personas for the men. So we focused on the moms, and we looked at it from a needs perspective. So what are the kinds of things that are going on in their life that determine how they engage with healthy eating behaviors, preparing food, all of those kinds of things. And one of the key questions that really was a determining factor for us was a question about barriers that they had to healthier eating. And we asked them to identify all the ones that were barriers and then to focus in on which one is the single greatest challenge for their family. And so in looking at that, there were 4 different segments that statistically were different, that we could group based on how they responded to that question. And we broke those 4 into the first one here on the left, which was 35% of our WIC respondents, which we're assuming translates into your total population or your total audience. They were driven by lifestyle demands, and in particular by time constraints or an emphasis on time, whether that was not enough time to prepare meals, not everybody was home at the same time, they were too tired to cook, or they lacked cooking skills and maybe didn't have a desire to develop those, or lack of ideas for putting together healthy meals. So there were a lot of things that that impacted that group relative to how they viewed barriers to healthier eating. The second group was a little bit more specific and zeroed in on having picky eaters in the family, and that was 21% of our total sample. So they had food allergies, they had kids that were picky about what they were eating, or they, kids wanted to go out and eat fast food as opposed to eating healthy meals at home. The third segment that we identified that was 30% of the WIC audience had an issue with accessibility to nutrition and or to healthy food. Either they couldn't find quality product, they would have healthy food on hand, but fresh fruit or vegetables would spoil before they could eat it. Or sometimes there was a price barrier. Healthier food was too expensive and they didn't feel like they could afford it. And then our fourth group was a group that interestingly said they had no challenge. They had, no barriers to healthier eating, that they did fine with that. And so we broke that out as a separate segment. And then, and I won't spend a ton of time on this because it's sort of more the data behind the profiles, and we'll get into those persona profiles here in a second. But when we talked about, the single biggest worry, we looked at the indexes over here to see where they were higher than the rest of the sample. And that's what drove how we created the segments. And so we talked about some of those on the previous page. And then we also looked at what are the services that they tend to tap into and use that WIC offers more than others. And again, we looked at the overall percentage, but we also looked at where they tended to use those services more than the standard sample. And so that's what that index basically represents. So the kinds of things that they tapped into, we called them the time jugglers. That's their persona name. They tended to tap into WIC communication resources, nutrition education, a few, the breastfeeding support, and then the WIC dietitian. So you can see sort of their priorities for the kinds of things that they wanted to be able to tap into and to use. We also had a few demographic cues down here, and we'll repeat these again when we show you sort of the persona brought to life. But again, the overall aspect or kind of uniting factor for the time juggler is that she's very practical and task focused. She's trying just to make it through the day and is looking for shortcuts to be able to get the job done. She really isn't that interested in using food to nurture or, kind of create community with her family. She's just really kind of trying to check things off her list. So that is our first persona. The second one we call the child pleasers, and this goes back to the picky eaters. So they're watching out for allergies. They want to be sure that their kids enjoy what they're eating. They also want to make sure that the food is nutritious. So she's basically trying to pick out foods that her children will eat. And she's most likely got, like the full range of kids, I guess allergies and things like that start to appear maybe around 12 months. And then maybe they get pickier as they go along up to 5 years. She relies on kid approved staples to offer kind of hassle-free meals. She isn't really running out of time, so she's open to learning and expanding her skill set around cooking and finding things that her kids will really enjoy. So she's different than the time juggler in the sense that she's more invested in finding solutions and sort of making her kid happy and healthy with what she's finding and able to do. So some of the benefits that she tends to use are, some of the farmers market benefits, the dietitian. So again, those things fit with her trying to find, always looking for better solutions and ways to please that picky eater. The third one that we talked about was who was struggling with good finding accessible nutrition. We called the convenient nutritionist. So she's worried about running out of food, making sure food is nutritious and making sure everyone has enough food. She knows nutrition is important and makes an effort to feed her family nutritious meals. She's not really time strapped, but unlike the child pleaser, she really isn't that interested in preparing fancy or unique meals. Simple, nutritious, and easy to prepare foods are her favorite, but she struggles to find stuff, kind of quality food she wants on a budget. So the types of WIC benefits that she's more likely to use are some of the healthcare references, accessing the nurse, immunization. So some of those things rose to the top for her a little bit more. Again, and it helps you sort of think about if you can identify someone who's coming in as fitting this profile, then you'll know which benefits to sort of introduce or support them with. And then it turned out that the ones that had few challenges or worries were our new moms. And that makes sense because it's not as complicated in some ways to feed their children yet. They probably don't have multiple kids, so they haven't addressed some of those time challenges or picky eaters or allergies or things like that quite yet. And so they tended to say that they really had no worries or no challenges, but then you can see on the WIC services that they tend to tap into, they're much more around breastfeeding, lactation, learning about how to care for a newborn, breast pump support, those kinds of things. So it makes sense that they didn't have the same challenges and worries as the other segments. So this was really a unique needs-based persona as well. She's most likely a single child mom. And again, so she hasn't encountered some of those issues or problems. So those are the four, segments that we then turned into one-page personas. And what we wanted to do was to put the key information that you needed to know on one slide and give you a snapshot of this profile. And so you can see in the upper left-hand corner, we have, average age, where they tend to be, what the average household size is. So how many kids there might be in the family. Our sample was skewed more white Caucasian. So that may be part of the reason that we're seeing that as kind of a consistent pattern in almost all the personas. We also looked at location. Nikki, I can't remember what the indexes that you guys used to determine, but we used that same protocol to be able to determine where they lived, whether it was whether they lived in an urban area, an exurban area, a suburban area, or a rural area. So you'll see those classifications here under location. But we tried to line it up with a tool that you may already use and have access to. And then education was the other element. So the time jugglers have some college. So in summary, they tended to be, of our four personas, the most educated, more urban. They're very task focused, and they tend to have a larger household. And then we just created a statement for them that summarized how they approached their world. I always aim to be a better mom, especially in the difficult moments when I felt like I'm failing. I want to be a more patient mom and prioritize time with my family. We talked about the WIC benefits up here that she tends to use more than the others. And very simply put, her needs are ways to simplify her day. So like sample meal plans so that she can just get it done, create the grocery list, go and do it. Simple and healthy meal options that have broad family appeal, access to nutrition information, and more time with her family and peace for herself. Her frustrations, if she has any with WIC, are that it was difficult to get appointments pre-COVID, difficult to start receiving WIC benefits. So she struggled a little bit with that. Lack of WIC approved items in store. So how do I find the right ones that will qualify? Her experience is that some vendors at the farmer's market don't accept WIC checks, and formula that she wanted to use is not necessarily covered by WIC. Again, in the green box, a little bit of a bio to bring her to life, and how she's motivated to get through her day. So again, she's task focused. She's looking for shortcuts. She doesn't really enjoy grocery shopping and meal prep because she has more important things to do. She cares about her family's well-being. So she's trying to balance, how do I do that more efficiently? In the upper right-hand corner, we also looked at the comfort level of a partner or a spouse, a male partner or spouse, just to understand if they were supportive and if they had a comfort level in being engaged with the WIC benefits as well. And on this one, you can see she has a fairly high level of support. And then on the bottom right hand on this one pager, we get into what her preferred engagement is with WIC. So, the channels that she likes to use to engage. And you can see where she over indexes on, internet and email and phone. So again, she's efficiency driven. So the more she can do it that way, the better. And then in the bottom right-hand corner, I'm going to introduce you to Scott, who is our media director. And he took each of the persona profiles that we had created, or the segments, so the raw data. And then I'm going to let him explain how we went to some additional outside resources to be able to dive in a little bit deeper on what their media engagement looked like and how we could use that to develop more targeted communications and marketing campaigns.
Yeah, so thanks, Katie. Again, I'm Scott Kretzel, Media Director here. So that little bottom right section that just says media engagement, if we were to just peel that back, we'd have a whole nother profile to kind of understand this audience from a media perspective. So we look at this and we take a deeper dive so we can understand how best to reach them with our advertising, and what's going to be the best way to engage them to provide value in when they're seeing those advertising messages. So we look at MRI and Simmons, and we will take some of these stats that we have and we will plug in some qualifiers. So for example, we'll put in, what is the age range that we want to look at for this audience? What is their household income? And then we'll also look for MRI questions that match up with some of the questions we had here. So for example, time jugglers. There's a question in MRI that says that they're always looking for a quick and easy meal. So someone who's needs to find that food quickly. And we'll plug all that information in. And what we'll get out from that is a little bit more on their demographic. So we'll look at, again, age range like we have here, but then we'll look at education, we'll look at occupation, and then media engagement. Where are they engaging in media? Where's that consumption? Is it TV? Is it radio? Is it print? Is it online? But then we also look at who they are from a mindset. We look at psychographics. So environmentally, like what are their leisure activities? Do they like to be outdoors? Do they like photography? And so we can actually craft that all together to put a persona that looks like this one page, but very more media focused. So then when our advertising is placed, we're placing it not only in the places where they're engaging in media, but in environments that's relevant. So it makes sense and it matches up with them and it doesn't seem out of place when they're seeing that message. And then, so that's when we go in and take our media plans, then we use all that information as a guide to best place that media to reach our audience.
So if you have almost like, if you think about it on the backside, when we get into media planning for any programs that WIC would want to do, it's almost like there's another level of detail that we can tap into relative to how do we connect and engage with them from a media perspective. I wanted to stop here and just ask if anyone has any questions for us so far. The next 3 pages are the other personas, and I'll go through those at a little bit higher level because I think you guys get what the information is that we're providing on these. But does anyone have any questions for us before we move on to the next persona?
I do see one question in the chat box about RUCA codes.
Yeah, I think Jill mentioned that, and that is what we used for location. So we were able to take, to track back the respondent in the survey to what their address was to the RUCA codes. And so that's how we were able to segment by location. So it just gives you a sense of where they may be located within the state. Do you know what I mean? What kind of, whether it's rural again, or suburban or metro. And so I think we simplified the RUCA codes. There might be 9 or 11 of those, and I think we condensed them down. But if that is something that you're using for targeting or for understanding already, we just wanted to give you a tool that made sense with, you know, within the framework that you're already using. So that's correct. We use the RUCA codes. Okay, well, let's keep going through. So the child pleaser was our second persona. She's slightly older, 4.4 people in the household. She tends to be more small town or rural, and is a high school grad, a GED or less. So she's a little bit more emotion driven versus being very task focused. She's a little bit less educated and might be more rural. Her sort of overall summary quote was temper tantrums, refusals to eat. It's also disruptive. I try my very best and I don't want the stress of mealtime to jeopardize building a better relationship with my kid. So she's really driven and invested in spending time to figure out how to prepare meals that her children will like. And then again, on the WIC benefits, you can see she tends to over-index on the farmer's market, the dietitian, and the shopper app. Her needs are really to develop a good relationship with her child, kid-friendly, healthy meal ideas and recipes. Some emotional support, reinforcement that she's not alone in this struggle. And then any kind of professional and expert advice and tips, like from the dietitian or other sources. Her frustrations with what WIC offers are that restrictions on accepted WIC foods. She'd like kid favorites like Honey Nut Cheerios to be on the list. It's hard to tell what vendors accept the farmer's market checks, and good food spoils because her child won't eat it. So there's some waste that causes stress. So she's just, you know what I mean? In her bio, we just highlight those things. She's constantly trying to find healthy solutions, a variety of food, ways to get her, to sort of simplify the challenge of finding things that her child will eat. Her male partner support is the strongest, and maybe that's because she's a little more stressed out with having a picky eater, he tends to be comfortable in engaging with WIC and helping out on that. Her preferred channels of engagement with WIC tend to be text, phone, but she's also a little bit higher on in-person visits. And again, I think that's because she's trying to gather information, and she's also looking for some of that emotional support to keep fighting the fight. Scott, do you want to talk about the media profile here? Let me mute.
And I have to unmute. Okay. Yeah, so the media engagement, these again are just small snapshots. And what we're just showing here is what is over indexing or where is their highest level of media consumption. So for child pleasers, it's internet and social media. They're all fairly similar. As we go through these, you'll see there's some slight differences here and there, but we'll use this as a guide to make sure that we are, again, being in the right place. It doesn't mean these are the only places we're going to be, but we know, okay, this is an important media consumption vehicle for them. So we have to make sure we're there. And it could be in multiple areas. So social media, for example, we'll look what indexes the most as far as platforms, Facebook, Instagram, et cetera. We'll make sure we're there, but then maybe we'll add social listening banners so that if there's chatter about anything that's related to child pleasers, that we'll be able to serve them an ad because they were doing something like that through social media. So we'll have layers within there as well. Sorry, I'll let Katie try to find her unmute.
I'm having trouble driving this morning. All right. So you guys are getting the hang of this. We'll go through this one again at a slightly higher level, but the convenient nutritionist, her location tends to be metro or micro commuting, so a suburban area. She tends to have a slightly smaller household, some higher education, like tech or a 2-year degree. She's less emotionally driven than, the child pleaser, sort of our peak on that one. And again, she tends to live in the suburbs. Organic versus all natural, cage-free. There's so much information out there that it gets confusing. I want what's best for my kid, but I don't have the budget or the interest to make feeding my family my full-time job. Make it easy for me. The top WIC benefits that she's likely to tap into or more likely to tap into are health provider reference, the nurse, immunizations. So again, she's building around efficiency, and she's not using some of the, healthy meal planning resources right now. So her needs are to access professional experts, clear, direct information that's provided efficiently and quickly, flexibility and openness from the WIC staff, maybe to accommodate all she's trying to get done, and then the ability to use WIC for organic vegan products and supplements. Her frustrations are difficulty in using the farmers market coupons, a challenge to gather all the documents needed to qualify, which goes with her looking for convenience. Organic and vegan products are not available. Again, on the WIC card isn't accepted at natural grocery stores. She was no one had issues with the WIC staff in any way, shape, or form in the research, but she was less likely of anyone to find the WIC staff to be helpful, flexible, and quick. And she felt like in-person appointments took too long with lots of waiting around, which is ironic because her preferred form of engagement was in person. So it's kind of that balance of how do you create this efficiency around that? And maybe that was the most effective way for her to get it done. So how can you move her in and out through the process more quickly? She is looking for good nutrition. That's why the vegan and organic and things kind of come up for her. But she isn't going to spend a lot of extra time trying to be creative around the food. So how do I get easy to prepare meals and also simplify things so she's not feeling overwhelmed? Relative to the comfort level of her spouse, she's more likely not to have a dad or father figure in her child's life. And of those that do, they don't really participate as much in that aspect of it. So whether it's WIC attendance or supporting in meal preparation and stuff. And then again, the forms of engagement, she was higher on in-person and email. And then if I can figure out how to mute myself again, I'll turn it over to Scott. You go.
Okay. Sorry, we're in the same room if anyone didn't realize. So for media engagement, their top indexing vehicles were internet, social media, as you saw in the previous one, but then the community nutritious pop for radio as well. So again, if we were looking to put together and build a plan, we would look at these three as our kind of our base and then build up from there.
Well done. Okay. Our last persona is new moms. She tended to be younger in our sample, smaller household size, which makes sense. Of the total sample, she tended to be the most ethnic of the sample, tended to live in an urban area, and was the least educated of our personas. Her quote, as a new mom, I have had to learn a lot, especially about breastfeeding, but it's a fun adventure and getting tips from others has been a great help. So her attitude overall is positive toward the journey she's embarking on, for the most part, but she does have some struggles. So she's again more likely to use WIC benefits and other food assistance benefits throughout the month as needed. So she must have indexed higher on, some of the SNAP and some of the other programs that she could tap into. But again, she over-indexed on new mom kinds of things relative to breastfeeding and tapping into consultants and resources and supplies there. Her needs are to raise a happy and healthy baby, to make sure her baby has enough food, to find quality and reliable childcare, and to really stay updated on what's next in terms of development of her baby. Her frustrations and challenges are, figuring out breastfeeding, which can be difficult and not necessarily intuitive for some, finding formula in her budget that her baby will also take. Again, farmers market checks, what's covered. Less likely to find the WIC staff as being flexible or friendly. So she might be a little bit intimidated by that, and then can't use WIC benefits with online grocery pickup, which is something that she's probably tapping into. And especially when you think about this was going on during COVID, when people were trying to stay extra safe and cautious. So having a baby's like taking a crash course on Mom 101. So again, how can we very much sort of focus on what it is that she needs to know now, help her reach a comfort level with that, and then sort of drop the breadcrumbs as she moves forward into the next stages of her baby's development. Her male partner is likely to be comfortable participating in this, and she's significantly less likely to have an uncomfortable male partner than the other personas did. Internet is her preferred. Actually, she over indexes on that, so she prefers it a little bit more than the others do. But again, in person is a preference, and by phone is a preference for her. And then from a media engagement perspective, again, I'll turn it over to Scott.
Yeah, thanks, Katie. Okay, so we actually have this one as a real media plan that's in market right now. So we use some of this media engagement information to help guide our plan. You'll see social media and magazines pop as the top engagement vehicles for this demographic and this audience. Magazines, so they're kind of hard to buy national magazines. So their top magazines that they're interested in are Parents, Better Homes and Garden, Elle. So it's hard to buy national magazines at the local level. But what we did is we're able to buy it, the digital version, and be able to focus that within Iowa. So we actually did that for this campaign. We did a buy with Meredith. So across their endemic magazines that match up with this new mom audience, we bought the digital version for that. And then we bought other things. So it's not just social media, but we also have connected TV. 60% of this audience uses a video streaming service. So we wanted to make sure we were there. They over-index in watching programming that's geared toward children. Actually, most moms are in the room when their children are watching television, so it's actually a good place to reach them. So we have on this buy as well PBS Kids. So that actually gets those kids, it gets the moms that are in the household, and it also broadens it out because you can get PBS whether you have a cable subscription, a digital service, whatever. So it's very broad reaching as well. So that's kind of how we looked at that persona that we put together for media and then applied it to a media buy. And I'll turn it back to Katie.
I noticed that there was a question in the chat about same-sex couples, and we really did not, I don't know that we asked that question. I can go back and look at the survey, but we didn't really address that within the quantitative research.
No, we only really asked if the individual had a partner. We didn't ask if they were same sex or if they were opposites or anything. So.
Okay, so those are the four personas, and then I'd like to move on to the user journey mapping that we did in partnership with Nikki and others. And what we wanted to really be able to do was look at the stages that a potential user of WIC benefits would go through. And the method that we landed on for the stages was really looking at sort of how they move through a progression of expecting a baby, having a newborn, into a toddler, potentially having 2+ kids, and then at 5 years old when they age out of the program. And then we wanted to think about what are the primary services that they used, which is just really, sort of taking some of the things that we've seen on previous pages and grouping them into a slightly different path. What are their needs and motivations? What are some pain points that they may have in this process? And again, this comes a little bit from the personas and the struggles that they said that they had. And then we looked at life emotions. Do you know what I mean? We weren't just looking at WIC, but in terms of their whole world, what kinds of things might they be feeling at each of these different phases relative to finding nutritious or creating nutritious and healthy meals. And then we brainstormed ideas or opportunities for WIC down at the bottom. And there's a lot of content in here to go through. Oh, I wanted to add one other thing. Then we also plotted up here at the top. You can see where the personas, which, life stage they tend to be with their child. So obviously the new moms are down here in the expecting and the newborn area. The child pleasers tend to move from toddler on up. Convenient nutritionists are starting to move into this phase where they're realizing what it takes to prepare meals and how much effort and energy they're going to put into it. And then the time jugglers tended to have larger families. And so they kind of lived in the 2+ kids arena. And I think I'll just take one as an example and walk you through it, and then give you the opportunity to go through this at your leisure when you have some time to dig in a little bit more. But let's take, for example, a toddler, so this may be either a convenient nutritionist or a child pleaser that has a toddler. The types of services that they're tending to look at, depending upon whether they're emotionally engaged, in what they're doing and trying to please their children, versus they're looking for quick and easy nutritional meals. So they might be tapping into nutrition counseling, referral to healthcare providers, some of the social services available, immunization support, new to program guidance, because they may just be coming in at this point if they haven't, if they weren't brought into the program when they had a newborn. And then the farmers market nutrition program is a bit of a struggle for them. So getting them early and giving them the ability to use those benefits would be helpful there. Their needs and motivations are really to give their child a healthy start, to make sure food is nutritious, to look for tips and tricks for picky eaters, and to access developmental services. So what are the next phases that are going to be happening in my child's development? Their life emotions may be, having a lot of questions again, because they're moving forward into a new stage, or they're looking for better solutions. And they also, might be a little bit frustrated. We were joking a little bit that when you move into the toddler phase, what originally was where you could put the baby down and they'd stay, your whole world changes when they start moving and walking, and how you navigate and manage that. So there's some big steps that happen in that phase. And then the opportunities for WIC that we identified are communicating easy ways to use the benefits, education on shopping, item selections. We talked about doing shopping shorts, whether that was a quick video on YouTube or TikTok, wherever is the right place to do it to reach the audience, and being able to give them quick resources. Some may be more about quick and easy meals. Some might, there would be a variety of tips and things that you could do. Simple meal plans and easy recipes tends to be consistent across all of them. And then maybe there's a cooking show on Facebook that they can tap into and look at to get ideas. And again, you could target them specifically to either a convenient nutritionist needs or to the child pleaser's needs. But that gives you an idea of how we looked at each phase in the journey, and the kinds of things that you would be able to tap into and to use by understanding where they're at, and then also what kind of persona they might be, what their more emotional needs are around preparing healthy meals. The opportunities are by no means complete. Do you know what I mean? This is sort of a living, breathing document for you all to be able to add on to and to continue to use to inform programs and generate ideas. So I believe that is what we had to present today. Nikki or Jill, anything else you'd like us to touch on or to cover?
That was great. I really appreciate that. I would encourage local agency staff, if you have questions, put those in the chat, or feel free to unmute yourself and ask those questions. Did one of you want to kind of like go do a quick rundown on how we've taken some of this and started media campaigns for this year?
Yeah, so we have really taken that new mom persona and created materials really for that persona to kind of have them targeted and have them really kind of engage with the WIC. And that is everything that we're kind of doing right now, is we are targeting that new mom through banner ads, through Facebook posts, through really highly targeted media, which we use video as well. Like we're seeing, we just last month in June, sorry, not last month, we didn't have media out in market, but in June, we had 30,000 clicks from our ads because they are being set, like guided to these individuals that are needing help and that they are highly targeted. And the reason why we use digital media is because we can really kind of pull those strings and make sure that we are sending it to the people that need it and not the people that don't. And so we are seeing a lot of engagement. We have some social ads out there where we have, about a 0.3 or 0.4 click-through rate on our ads, which is right at the standard. But we are seeing a lot of engagements with them too. Our average engagement is typically about a 0.09 or 0.1. We are seeing a 0.3 engagement, which that's just how many people are engaging with the ads, writing comments, liking, sharing, items like that. I have an ignition report if you want me to go over that that I'm referencing right now. I cannot.
I'll jump in
Yeah,
too,
if
just
you
to
have
talk
it
a little bit about the
quick and
media.
available and
Yep.
wanted to do that, that would be
Katie,
great.
could you unshare?
Sorry, just before Lou shows the ignition report, I also just wanted to jump in and let you know that, Lou's talking obviously about all the engagement and the results that we're getting. And the media campaign is not just made up of digital. We also want to make sure we're bringing awareness about WIC. So we do have things in the current plan that's including radio to make sure that we're getting broad reach and awareness. Connected TV, as I mentioned earlier, to help with the video and also understanding that they do use a lot of the streaming services, and that PBS Kids. Those three would be what we consider kind of awareness, broad reaching drivers. And then that actually helps because we want to have a rich media mix and we want to have a lot of different elements. So that way, when they see the digital side as well, they can take action, and we're driving and we're creating that awareness, and then they can take action once they see it in a place where they can actually click or make a phone call or whatever the case may be. So it's actually a nice, robust media mix that we have for WIC right now.
Okay, Katie, you got to stop share. All right. So last year we created a TV spot that we use through a variety of different channels, but we also created some banner ads really targeting those individuals that are now eligible for WIC benefits. And we ran that for the COVID campaign late spring of last year, excuse me. And then this year we're running the more mom targeted based off of our personas. And so we have kind of a calendar year, the state fiscal year kind of going for us right here to show our click-through rates at the time. And so last year, June, August, and September, we had a really big range of individuals where we're targeting moms and dads that had kids 0 to 5. And we wanted to make sure that they engaged. And then this year, May and June, we started to really kind of pinpoint based off of the persona and started to really kind of pull the media strings to really kind of get that. And so we've seen a pretty large increase in clicks based off of that. Here's our clicks per month. We didn't run for full May. but we still got 12,000 clicks, and then we had 30,000 clicks to the WIC website. Our impressions by tactic, this is just kind of showing throughout the calendar year where our clicks are coming from, or where our impressions are coming from. And then here is where our clicks are coming from. And so one of the big click driving tactics is the social listening banners, which what they do is they listen to your social platforms, what you're saying, either in the comments or posting, and then it serves you relevant ad information based off of that. And so that's a really good way of kind of targeting those moms, because everybody, being a dad of 3 kids that are under 6, you take a lot of pictures, you post a lot of stuff on Facebook about like the very first attempts. So we're able to really kind of get in with that right away. And so it's really seeing that the tactic's working. Our click-through rates are really hanging strong and really are improving in May and June of last fiscal year. You see a little bit of a drop off here. It's just based off of the tactics we're winding down, but we came back with the new mom personas and it did fairly well. Our digital video performance by tactic, this is showcasing the TV spot that we have. We have a 30-second TV spot, and we used it in programmatic video and CTV. So CTV is those programs that people watch, basically cable TV, but the cord is cut. So you're watching it off of Sling, you're watching it off of Hulu, items like that we're able to place our media schedules in. And then programmatic video is we're able to kind of really pinpoint the audience that we have, and it constantly searches and adapts to find new people that have not been to the site that fit within our criteria. And we're seeing a 0.2 click-through rate, and we're having the view-through rate at 63. So those are both fairly high for these platforms, especially since CTV, you can't click through, but programmatic video you can. And then we have social listening video. Again, we're playing those ads for the individuals that are actively commenting on things on their social platforms. We're seeing a 0.7 click-through rate with a 63% view-through rate. We've also expanded this year to have ads on social. As I was kind of talking about before, we have 2 different social ads that are working in tandem right now. We're doing an A/B test to really kind of see what the audience here is looking for. And it's making it difficult because both of the items are performing fairly well, and they're doing really, really well based off of the engagement, like I said earlier, where it's posts, shares, likes, and comments. And so we have kind of a performance based off of our digital tactics. We have social listening banners, which has a 1.4 click-through rate. That's impressions over clicks. So that gets us the amount. And then we have our search retargeting. You can see your application. And then we have programmatic banners and Meredith banners. So the Meredith banners are a little bit of a different source. So we go through Meredith because they have those platforms like parenting.com and a variety of others like moms.com. And so we're able to display ads on those platforms based to our audience. And this kind of gives a breakdown of where we're getting our impressions, where the clicks are happening, our click-through rates, our cost per 1,000 impressions, which is CPM, which just you constantly know that that's cost per 1,000 impressions by the acronym, but
it's just the way we measure efficiency in the media world.
Yeah, it's just kind of efficiency by showing odd acronyms. And then we have our cost per click. And so we really have, we try to juggle where our cost per 1,000 impressions and our cost per clicks. And that really helps us evaluate how efficient our campaign is. And so we're constantly in there pulling strings to try to get the best value that we have. Since last July, This is a look at the WIC website on IDPH and how it has performed. As you can see, we have some nice bumps when we're running media last year and this year. And so that's really nice to show that our campaigns are working, bringing people in. But it's also nice to see that people are coming to the site when media isn't happening. It's just they're more frequent when we have media as we expected. Then we have our website sessions by source. So this is kind of showing us how people are coming to the website, not just through the campaign, but organically. And so you're seeing that our media, of course, is going to bring the most people in, but you're also seeing Google organic. So they may see the TV spot on PBS, or they may see the TV spot on CTV, and they're Googling WIC to find the information, and that is how they're going to it. That is what they consider organic. Sorry. I was getting a phone call for the first time. So you see direct. So this is just people that already know the website that are going directly to it. You have the Facebook. So it shows how everybody's getting there. And then a nice other detail to kind of show is that the website sessions are predominantly mobile. And so we are seeing more and more media and consumption being done through the phone and being done through tablets, even though you don't see the tablets as much. And so we kind of know that our audience is more mobile friendly than anything. And so we try to make sure that our ads fit within that parameters. And also we have to keep in mind that the individuals that we're serving, based on previous media tactics that we've done in the past for other IDPH clients, we know that based off of the economic range of the individuals, that they are more prone to have a phone where they can access the internet than a laptop or a computer, because they may not be in an office situation, but they always have their phone, and these are their big lifelines to their social network and everything like that. And so they stream everything off of their phone. Maybe for the kids, that is how they work with everything. And so we are seeing, here's a performance of how our ads have worked, and it shows the sessions that they've gone, the bounce rate, the session duration. And we have to kind of remember that people's attention spans are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And so when you see 16 seconds, you're like, oh, that's not very much. But on average, people spend 7 to 8 seconds coming from an ad, because if they don't see what they're looking for, or they see what they're looking for, they instantly kind of get off, because we're getting to the mind of gerbils where we just kind of keep going and going, especially digitally, because there's just so much information that we have. But we're seeing a nice amount of pages visited for the IDPH site, which typically just has one single landing page, and then people are able to bounce off. That is kind of why you see a 90% bounce rate, but people are engaging further into the site to find more information. And so what we look for here are the sessions, the session duration, and the pages visited, just based off of the key performance indicators of that website and what that website is built to do. And then here is kind of a graphic of our website traffic, along with people that are calling and enrolling. So I kind of went through that fairly quickly. Does anybody have any questions?
Go ahead and put them in the chat if you do. I don't see any at this point.
Yeah.
It's a lot of information, but it's fascinating. The details that you can find, the information that you can find, how specific you can pinpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And I would point out, we'd like to think that, our participation went up a little bit in July, and we'd certainly like to think that it looks like this advertising that occurred in June paid off. So.
Yeah, from a media side, just to jump in again, it'd be really helpful to get a a peek into your side as well and understand, did participation in the program increase during those times media was in market? Any opportunities that maybe you might be able to ask participants, hey, how did you hear about WIC? And then that kind of helps reinforce what we're doing from a media side as well, and where they're engaging and what's driving their interest. And then we can actually, the next program, come back and make it stronger once we get the information on what's making them take action.
Yeah, so just a reminder to local agencies, new participants that come in, it is required to document who referred them to WIC, but just making sure that also if you have people that haven't been on the program for a few months or even years, please ask them again, what reminded you of WIC, or what drove you back to WIC, and document that. Was it because they heard it on the radio or their healthcare provider talked to them about WIC? Because we can pull that data and find out where these referrals are coming from, and again, apply that to the outreach and where to target our messaging. Well, I don't see any questions in the chat still. So I think everyone is really thinking about and pondering everything you presented. We thank you for your time. And I think we can wrap up this session of the contractors meeting then.
Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity. We're very happy to see that the campaign is working based off of the personas. So.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, nice meeting everyone.
All right, can you hear me all right? Okay, next up, I'll just introduce our next speaker. It is about the appointment text reminder services. Kim from the One Call. She is the WIC Senior Project Manager. So just if you do have any questions during the presentation, feel free to write them in the text box. If we do have time, we'll try to answer them. If you kind of think of something afterwards too, feel free to always email me at the state office. I can always get them to her and get those answers. But we're gonna hand it over to her. She's going to go kind of a demo and kind of get a quick general overlay of the services with OneSolve. So it's all you, Kim. I didn't know if you were able to share your screen or not. So just let me know. Otherwise, we can always try to pull up. Oh, looks like she's sharing. So I think it's good to go.
There we go. we do a few of these demos.
Okay.
Several a day at this time of year.
It's in the mode where we can see your slides on the side as well, if you want to do that.
Oh, okay. So if I keep it like that instead of full screen?
If you would like to do the full screen, yeah, I was saying if you want to switch it over to full screen, that would be great.
Oh, yeah, I was doing that. Yeah.
Great.
There we go. Is that better?
Yes,
yes,
thank
it
you.
is.
Okay, thank you. Anyways, yes, this is really exciting for me. My name is Kim and I'm from One Call Now. And whoops, I saw a message, but no. Anyways, this is additionally exciting for me because I have family in Iowa and I lived in Iowa myself for several years. I believe at one point my great grandma may have been the oldest person in the state. I don't know. She passed at 107, almost 108. So from Eldora. And so I've been hoping to get this account for a long time. But anyways, I'm here to demonstrate the system, the outreach service, and just give everybody here an overview of what you can expect. So first, just a little background about who we are. Now, me, myself, I actually was a WIC mom a long time ago, but I found this recently with my WIC appointment for my middle daughter. And, but anyways, that's why it's personal to me. I personally, along with the lead developer, WIC developer, we both have managed these WIC messaging projects for 20 years this year. And So for me, it's very personal because it was a great service when I was young. And here I just love that it's a great benefit for moms of today. And as you can see here, we've been doing this a long time. So we have a lot of customers across the nation. And of course, now we're contracted with Iowa. But this just gives you an overview of who we work with. And of course, some very, very large accounts too, Dallas, Houston, Cleveland. So just to let you know, we're not newbies here. We've been doing this a very, very long time. And that's why, I'm sitting here presenting to you. So first off, just a little background about the service. When it sends out messages, it will deliver a message automatically, a voice message to a landline, and a text message to a cell phone. So we're going to catch both channels. Amazingly, with WIC, 12 to 15% do go to voice, and we message 2.5 million WIC participants every month. So, that's a shock to everybody, but the voice messages are important. Also, if a text is attempted, we make several attempts for a text. And if it can't be delivered, we then automatically roll over to attempt a voice message. And this produces the highest delivery rate. So the best results to get that message to your WIC participants. And languages, we're going to automatically deliver your appointment reminder, future and missed appointment messages in, the following languages. We do have available: English, Spanish, French, and Burmese for WIC future appointment messages and missed appointment messages. Like we have actually Burmese pre-recorded, human recorded. We don't have the Swahili, but there is a partner who can make those recordings and text translations, or unless the state has interpreters. But just so you know that these languages would be set up to be automatically delivered to people according to the language that's on the record. And so first off, we'll discuss the automated messages. These are going to come out without anybody at the local agency doing anything. It will just happen. We'll get a file from your state. The messages will be drafted, and of course, the appropriate scripts, voice or text, will be delivered. So here is, an example. Of course, messages are going to be personalized so that they include each local clinic name, the appointment instructions for that kind of appointment. It can include the local agency two-way text, so you can have chat, or an auto reply. You can do one or the other, or a combination, of course, in the proper language. And so what I'm going to do here is just briefly demonstrate this as if I am a WIC participant and I received my message, and I reply for the cancellation auto reply, and then open up the chat. So let me pull up my phone there. And so let me pick a message. Oops. And of course I need to log in. We do have an app too. So any authorized user can also go load the app, which makes it real easy to create and send some of your own messages, which I'll be demonstrating here in a moment. So first off, let me just send an appointment reminder that follows through in that manner. I'm picking Mason City because when I lived in Iowa, I lived in a little teeny town called Missouri. It's near Thornton. A lot of people have heard of Thornton, but most have not heard of Missouri. And all of your business was conducted in Mason City. There we go. So I got my message already. There it is, along with the million other texts. Anyway, so we'll pretend, hey, there's my appointment reminder, and oh, I do need to reschedule this appointment. So I'm going to reply to this keyword. This is called the call to action keyword. There's multiple uses for that call to action keyword, but this is one, is to create an auto reply. So I'm going to send that out. And of course, then the automated, oh, whoops, there's no auto reply because maybe I need to spell it correct. Let me do it correctly. Mason City WIC, there. And so now I'll send that out. And so any one of the local agencies can create the auto reply. We'll set it up initially, but in training, everybody will be taught how to modify that as you see fit. So in this case, what I did was I used the call to action keyword as a filter, so that now I include my chat, my two-way chat, but it's not just going out for everybody because maybe I just don't have time. I don't want everybody to chat with me. That's an option. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But this is a filter example so that if somebody does want to chat, now we're only getting people who really want to reschedule their appointment. So now I'm going to, yes, I do need to reschedule. I don't want to call. And, I have work, I have the baby. I don't want to talk on the phone, which I hate to admit, but I also will. I also will try to chat if possible. And I hope I set this up right because maybe I did Mason City WIC and I just put my auto reply. I had to kind of switch. I'm sorry. I did it incorrectly because I had a quick switch out. We're presenting to the state of Missouri every single day this week. And so I quick change everything out between Missouri and Iowa. All right. I'm sure it's Mason City WIC chat. So let's do that again. And then after this, I get to switch back for Missouri, which I lived there for a while. And now I've moved south. I'm actually in Arkansas where it's a little warmer. Okay, so this should bring my chat. There we go. That was it. I did it wrong. And so see, now you get an automated reply that each agency can edit as you see fit. You'll all be able to log on and I'll show you how you can do that in a moment. But, in this case, the auto reply kind of limits the chat time so that you're not just having to check the computer all the time for chat. And you have an auto reply during WIC hours and an auto reply after WIC hours. So this is something each agency can create on their own. And we'll come back to the chat and take a look at that in a moment. We'll go to there. So next, when we go to, we'll go back to that in a moment. Next, I'm going to show you targeted outreach that all agencies will be trained. There will be training and everybody will be able to create and send some of their own messages. So you'll have automated messages coming from the state for appointment related information. But then at any given time, each agency and clinic will have the ability to create and send some of their own messages. So one portal, we'll have two portals. One will be what is called the clinic portal. So the clinic portal really is more used for general messages where you can pick any combination of this. So maybe a closure where you want to send out by appointment date, maybe by clinic, we're hosting a farmer's market, or by WIC category. Maybe we just want to focus on breastfeeding moms, say for World Breastfeeding Week, and language. So it's a combination. So I'll go and demonstrate this. Of course, as I mentioned, farmers market have great success sending messages out for that. So let's escape here. And now let's go to the platform. And so this is the platform. Well, first I showed you the app, but then also you have the user interface, which can also be accessed from your phone. It does display well on mobile, but all authorized users will have an account like this. And what will happen is we will get a file from the state that will contain all active WIC participants. And the WIC participants will be parsed into subgroups by clinic. So by agency, somebody will have an agency login. they'll have an account, and then under that will be clinic subgroups. And people, authorized users, will only have access to the contacts that are assigned to their clinic or agency. So here I will go, and that allows anybody to make a message from anywhere using the app, from home, at work. So let's just say here for farmers market, I want to create a message right now and send it out. And maybe I don't want to pull up my computer. So I will again, there, I'll again pull up my app and I'll make a message. So see, I can make a message right here. I can pick phone, email, text. Really, nobody uses email, but if I make a voice message and a text, it will deliver automatically the voice to the landlines, the text to the cell phone. Now for demonstration purpose, I'm just going to do text, and I'll just say farmers market today. So something simple. I can include two-way chat right there. I'm not going to, because this really is a one-way message. So next are my contacts. And see, I could select just a clinic group. Each agency will have all the clinic subgroups underneath. So in this one, I'm going to pick here. I think my phone number's in that group because there's only one real phone number. The rest are fake. And I can save my alert to send later, or we'll save and send. You do have to give each one a code, some random number. It just needs to be unique. And I will send it out. And so in a moment, I'll receive that message. And of course, anybody can reply to messages too. The replies, everybody will have access to reports. All authorized users will see reports only related to you. There we go. Let's reply to this one. I'll just say, okay, thanks. So that will show as well. People will have access to the reports under your authorization, and reports are almost real time, maybe about 2 minutes, but close to real time. Also, a lot of this depends on the data that we receive from our, what we would call our all active WIC participant list. We call it a roster. And I haven't seen that yet. So I don't know what data is coming exactly. I know what other Mountain Plains states have. But another example is typically we get a date of birth. So maybe we just want to make a message and focus on all the kids who are turning 1 this month. Because of course that is a, and you notice, remember I replied with a chat, and we'll come back to that. But you see now it shows I have a chat. So here we'll go back, we'll make a happy birthday alert. So happy birthday message, which we could save too and launch at different times. But of course, you know, when they turn 1, that's a big time to really encourage them to stay on WIC. So I'll make my message, and I forgot to point out, I'll show it the next time, the translations available. As actually, let me do that right here. So when you're making your phone message, you can translate right here. Oh, I don't have a message. That's there. So what to make our message, and then we can translate right there. All authorized users will have this ability to pick a language. And so we don't have Burmese or Swahili here to translate, but you know, we could translate this to Spanish, and I could translate it back. Also, to open up some other translation options, if I add email, just for some reason it's under the email option, but over here, which, let me move my zoom out of the way, we do have other translations too. I mean, obviously a human translator is best, but you know, there we could translate that, and then, you know, just basically we copy and paste it into our text message. I don't have it for the voice though. So in that case, that would be just a text. But there we go. Happy birthday. We can include two-way chat or not. And here, this is the cool thing, is called custom fields. This is your targeted outreach that we just love. So in this case, we're targeting kids who turned 1 in August. So you would pick where the date of birth is between, say, the 1st of August and the end, which is my daughter's birthday. Not 21, she's much older. She has her own baby now. And so, you know, see, we have a list of people. Oh, wait, whoops. Let's try this. We're looking at 2020. I thought, wow, that's a big list. We're looking at ones who turn 1. There we go, on my list, the ones who turn 1. And you know, and then send out your message to encourage them to stay on WIC. Some other things you can do with the clinic portal, of course, if we get an appointment date included in that roster file, some states can do it, some can't. But if the appointment date can be included in this list of all active WIC participants, we can do the same thing, but we can send out a weather closure. So we can make a lot of saved messages ahead of time for quick launch. Can be done on the phone or the website. So here's my weather closure. And then what I would do is just pick edit to be able to select the people. And when I lived in Iowa, we only closed once. There was an ice storm once over the snow. So I know it takes a lot to close offices there. But here's the message. We'll click next. Now I'm going to pick just everybody who has an appointment tomorrow. So I'm going to pick appointment date equals, and now I can send that message out just to everybody who has an appointment. So I'm not sending out to everybody. And I could, maybe I think of this at night and I want it to go out at 9 in the morning or 8 in the morning. So of course you can pick an advanced time to schedule it. And we'll just go ahead, we'll send that out. There we go. So moving on, these are things everybody will have the ability to do. And I got my message. And last is you can do surveys before we move on to the peer portal. Everybody will have the opportunity to send out, use the polling feature. So you could use it for surveys. Actually, and this wasn't discussed in the meeting with Brandy, but some people in Missouri just recently off meetings thought instead of using the call to action keyword for people who want to cancel, they just simply wanted people to just reply 1 if they had to reschedule and calls. They just wanted to collect who's going to reschedule. So, you know, it is something, I'm just throwing that out there, another option in an appointment reminder message. I'll demonstrate it in a moment. But the polling feature, of course, you can map the responses to different numbers and it all gets lumped together in nice reports. It's easy for viewing. So I got my bad weather message. So let me pull up and we'll send an appointment or a polling message. Let's see. First, here's my bad weather message that I received. And so now we'll go back. We'll pick a message and I'll send 2 real quick just so you both see an example. We'll send our survey and I'll send that out. Already made it. And you know, obviously surveys are a really good tool for gauging, you know, their satisfaction. And we do actually have an ability to send out kept appointment surveys, but that does require a little customization to send it out immediately after an appointment was kept. So here's my survey message, and I'll just reply to. When we see reports, we'll go look at that a little later. And also, I'm going to send the example of the appointment reminder message that instead used a polling feature instead of the call to action keyword, just to give you all kind of, nothing set in stone yet as far as the appointment messages. And this was something Missouri just thought would be good. So, so I will send that out and we'll get that message. And then while I wait for that message, hasn't come yet, it will. We'll move on to the peer portal. So what I was showing you first was the clinic portal. Oh, there it is. Of course, as soon as I leave. So here's my polling appointment reminder using polling instead. So I'll just reply 1. And we'll look at the reports in a little bit. But I was showing you the clinic portal. So remember, you have the automated messages, which come from the state. You have the clinic portal, which every clinic and local agency will be able to create and send some of your own messages with the features available. And then next is the peer portal. So what we do with the peer portal is we populate those subgroups only with breastfeeding and prenatal moms. And what's cool is you can do that targeted outreach again, but because we also would be collecting the actual delivery date and the estimated due date, there we go, due date, actual delivery date, or date of birth. And some states do breastfeeding amount. I don't think that's in Mountain Plains states right now, but those are things that you're able to filter, to target, to send really targeted one-way messaging to moms. Actually, Texas even does a peer dad program. Not all Texas, Tyler County, Texas. They do a peer father for expectant fathers and fathers of newborns. That, they only have about 20 signed up right now, but that could be done as well. You can target messages. If you have father phone numbers, we have an estimated due date and actual delivery date. So we would know whereabouts in the cycle both the moms and the dads are, and can send messages to either. And these are things that your local agencies will be able to do as you wish. And you can then include the two-way chat option or a call to action keyword to get people to join a class or to encourage people to talk back and forth with the peer. So one that in Ohio has had great success is they like to target moms at 4 and 3 weeks prior to delivery to encourage breastfeeding, tell them what to do, introduce the peer, all sorts of, it's just a really good outreach. And they said they have great success there. So we'll go back here and we'll demonstrate that. So now in the peer portal, they would log on. They would be able to create an alert. And again, it's always coming from the contacts because those are automatically updated every day. So it's always a current snapshot of your active WIC participants. And I'll just go with text here. But we'll just say, hi, I am your, just for time, we'll just make it a short message. And here, we'll include the chat there. See, so you can have you can design what this little auto chat welcome says. So that's completely customizable. And again, I keep picking Mason City because that's where I lived and I worked there many years ago, 98. So here, now we're looking at moms maybe who are going to have their baby next month. And So I'm going to look at where the estimated due date is between, in this case, we're going to get like September 1st through 15th. We'll just target those moms. Whoops, extra O. That's the only thing is you do have to be careful with the data you're looking for. It's a computer, right? So it's looking to compare data. So here, now I have my little targeted list of everybody, in this case, one who is due in that date range to send my message. And of course I can save those messages. So I just quick launch them over and over. Now, maybe this is my Spanish message. So I can add an extra layer and pick Spanish. Now this won't work because that particular record is English. So nothing will show. I know that. But if it were, if there was, here we go. Now there'll be my record there. So that way you really target the message. That way you can create your text in the different language, pick the people who speak by the language they speak, because that's data we're going to get. So it's data that's going to be available on everybody's site, everybody's login. And, you know, and then we can go and send the message, share it on social media if it's something that you want to do. Or of course, we'll just, if I want to save this message to launch again, that's what I would do, like the weather closure. And so in this case, I'll just send it. And the last example, of course, I'll get the message, is this is also something that is really having great success. And it's a call to action keyword to invite moms to a breastfeeding class. So every agency gets one two-way chat keyword for your appointment messaging. You get one two-way chat keyword for your peer program, and everybody gets one call to action keyword. That's what's been purchased, so that's what's available. So maybe right now the thought is to use the call to action keyword as an auto reply to the appointment, but maybe instead you want to use it like for outreach, for active WIC outreach, or for recruitment. So we'll demonstrate those. The call to action keyword for a breastfeeding class, that has been very popular in another state, having great success. So let me go back here and just get that clutter out of the way. And I will go here because I made a message in advance for breastfeeding class. And it's targeting, oh, I was going to show you. Anyways, this is targeting moms. This is just targeting all moms who are breastfeeding moms in this case. And there we go. So moms get it and go, yes, I would like to join, especially with Zoom. That's the key, is now that we have these virtual meetings, attendance to this is just improving greatly. As a matter of fact, Georgia is doing a survey, or they have a grant, I'm sorry. And they're, we get to participate in that with Georgia, but they are going to test and see what sort of behavior change happens as a result of some virtual WIC meetings versus in person. Whoops. Just to see if doing a lot of virtual appointments actually improves behavioral change and attendance and compliance. And so anyways, here is, you know, my little message about my breastfeeding class. But also what I've done is, and we will train you how to do that, to make your own subgroup. So you'll have clinic subgroups that will automatically be populated, and you'll have a peer portal with subgroups that are automatically populated. But you can also make some of your own subgroups that won't be affected by that. So this one here, I picked breastfeeding class, and my number wasn't in there until I responded to the call to action keyword. Now my number's in there, and now I can very easily make a message, pick the group, and send that message out just to that group. So that's really, really nice. And so next part of the breastfeeding peer outreach are the weekly breastfeeding texts, which actually started in Fargo, North Dakota, 2017. And so what this will come from the state. So this won't be something that the local agencies launch. The nice thing is it's going to happen automatically. And so the state will provide texts on a schedule. And because we have an actual delivery date and an estimated due date, we have logic that will tell us, okay, where's mom today? And the messages will be automatically delivered according to where mom is in that schedule. So I'll show you just some examples of this is what they send in Fargo. They were the pilots, so we can copy from them as long as we or use their scripts as a guide, as long as you speak with the director there. But you can see you can make your own messages and have it deliver precisely, appropriate for where mom is in her cycle. And so this is something the state will be working out scripts, but we will deliver these automatically. Studies have shown that improves breastfeeding rates by 300% at 6 months, exclusively breastfeeding. Maine is actually, they're doing this, they just started at the beginning of the year, and they are gauging their results, and they're delivering in 10 languages. So that's really neat. That's one example of scripts. Another one, they're not sending it quite as often, but one of Georgia has approved sharing as well. And I'm pretty sure I did provide these to the state. If I didn't, if there's something missing, they can ask and I'll send it as the state works on their breastfeeding scripts. And of course, in languages, can be delivered in languages, different languages automatically. Something I was thinking about that, but I don't recall. Anyways, moving on, I'm sure it will come back to me about the messages. Last is, remember, every agency has one call to action keyword. And I was thinking through, because it actually, I think we're just including that. We're including one call to action keyword. So you get to decide how it's going to be used. But maybe it's for the active WIC outreach, active WIC participant outreach, or maybe it's for the WIC eligible outreach. So what people do is they can put the call to action keyword into brochures that you're handing out, or posters, or digital ads, wherever it is where you're advertising WIC services, and you get to create your call to action keyword. You can change this as you wish. And you also create the auto reply. Remember when I signed up for the breastfeeding class, we had an auto reply. Well, that's the same principle for recruitment for WIC outreach. And something else I'll just mention, but this wasn't part of the contract because it wasn't a thing until the spring. And that's where we do have some places now starting to use our messaging for the WIC eligible Medicaid and SNAP messaging, and sending texts out to people on Medicaid and SNAP, and we compare it against the WIC participant list. So we strip out whoever isn't on WIC or is on WIC. And then again, we send a text to them and use a call to action keyword. So that was never discussed before because it's not in the contract. So I'm just mentioning this is what we're doing because this has become kind of a big thing ever since there was a proposal at the National WIC Conference about it, and the Center on Budget and Policies did some studies. But back to using your call to action keyword. Again, maybe they see an ad, they see it somewhere, or get a text, and they respond. You create the auto reply. Maybe you want to bring them to chat or call, and on the process continues. And that covers all of the services. I know that's a lot. Don't worry, everybody's going to have training. There'll be state training and there'll be local user training. And we have great support. and trainings can be recorded, and we've recorded some smaller snippets for things like the two-way chat and those custom targeted outreach, using the custom fields for messaging. So now we have a little time left for questions.
And everyone feel free to just write in the chat or say them. I know, first off, thank you for giving that presentation, Kim. It was much appreciated. I know it was a pretty high level probably for everyone, but yeah, if you guys have any questions, I do see the timeline. We are still working on, I mean, we have gathered all that information. We're building the initial information into the system. And kind of once that goes along, we'll start getting timelines out. They're a little more solid or anything like that. But since we're still kind of starting that process, I know the timelines are still a little bit adjustable right now. So we don't want to say one thing and then something happens and it changes. But we are looking until, we're hoping probably the December timeframe though, to kind of give a general date.
And I realized I did see a question, I'm sorry, about if somebody replies, is everybody going to see it? And I forgot to go to the two-way text and report. I forgot about that. No, if somebody replies back, no, not everybody will see it, only the authorized users. So here, I completely forgot about that part. I'll address it very quick. The chat, you saw I had a chat here, because remember I replied back a long time ago. And I will pull up the reports too. So here's my chat. And of course, I'm going to have a number of chats here, but everybody will be lined up. And this can be shared. This can be like in a queue that multiple people can access, which is nice. And there, so let me just pull up because I never actually sent my chat. So I apologize. You go here and I can't make it. We'll just do that. And we'll go to reports. But yes, that was a good question. Any replies only go to WIC staff who are authorized to come in. They will not go to everybody. And so there, I sent my message. There it is here. Okay, how is next week? So we'll send that out. And there we go. So it's back and forth. You can transfer to another user, you can end it, you have a history for archiving. So just like you have your saved messages for the peers to use, you'll make authorized messages and they can always send the saved messages. So you have approved it. You also do have a history and you can't make it go away. That's for auditing purposes. That's why you see all of mine from demo before and before. I can't make it go away because that's for auditing purposes. And last, let me go to reports. I apologize. I completely forgot about that. You have a number of different reports. So you can go to a contact report. And of course, this is high level, but you will learn this. I just encourage people to dig in and just play around and play around with it. If you don't actually push send, or if you make a little group and put your own phone numbers on, every one of you would be able to do that and make your own group and put some numbers, but you can play with, you can't hurt it. So you can play with it over and over as long as you don't push send and message, all of your WIC participants. But here, so let me just see where I just want to view people who do not receive text, which in my case, I didn't have any because it's just me. But if you did, this would show people who only receive a call and can't receive a text, or if they opted out, they will be able to opt out. If they reply stop, that will opt them out of messaging. We have a sample sign that each agency could use. It's been used across the nation. And I lost my train of thought. Anyways, oh yes, and what we do too is we make a completely separate account for those breastfeeding techs. So if they do opt out of that, they have not opted out of the appointment reminders. But anyways, we have all sorts of activity reports. So you can go look up by person and see what has happened. So we'll do that. And of course, the messaging reports, you'll see the replies. So you see all the activity. I said it's a busy time right now. And here, alert reports. So we'll go to just the results from today, remember. And I had all these different messages that I sent out. So I think, oh, right. Here's my polling and here's my farmer's market. I think the farmer's market is one I replied, okay, thanks. I did there. And so that will show up. Any of these reports can be exported to Excel. So maybe you have your authorized user who has access to the service, but you want to hand it off to somebody else who you don't want to have access to the service. So you can go save any of these reports in PDF or Excel and hand it off to somebody. Same thing with the polling. So I sent out the survey with polling. I included a phone, but I didn't have a phone number, a landline. And that shows up. And what will happen is they'll all be lumped together. So the polled response will be all lumped together to make it easy for viewing and again, exporting. So I'm sorry, I completely forgot about that. So now, do we have any more questions? Oh, I do have some chat. So let me pull this up.
Yeah, and I saw some of them. I'll answer a few and then I'll hand it back to Kim while you read them.
Okay, that sounds good.
For the missed appointment reports and termination reports, I think we got to do a little more research on state and federal guidelines and regulations if this would meet that requirement. So we'll have an answer out before it actually goes. And then I think I'll hand it back to you for kind of how long the trainings are leading up to the rollout, Kim. But I think really the other part of your question, Chris, would be kind of just how involved you want the staff is really their commitment to it.
Okay, and I see a few other questions there. Yes, so the training itself will be an hour. There'll be two, one for the state admins and one for local users, and you know, in different. We have timelines for the rollout. Well, probably, I mean, my suggestion would be to focus on the appointment reminders first, and then maybe roll out the peer portal and then the weekly breastfeeding texts, you know, versus everything all at once and it taking longer. And so, you know, once our guys get the information required, it happens pretty quick, within a few weeks. Let's see, questions, time commitment, staff requirements. So 1 hour for staff to do training, probably play around with the system again for, yeah, I've never been asked that about time commitment to play with it. Quite honest, a lot don't, and they should. I would say give them a couple hours to play with it. I would say to allow for that and just do some testing. It is pretty easy once you figure it out. We have little recordings too, so you can copy the recordings and we have, you know, training. Let's see, if they reply to a text message, it can come just to me. Yes, each user actually, unless you share an account, each authorized user will have your own login. So that text message would come back to you unless you've shared that login or until you transfer it to someone else. And let's see. Clinic staff texting happens in the portal. Yes, not on clinic staff's personal phones. Nope, the two-way text only happens in the portal and you can't get rid of it. Whatever has been sent is there, set in stone. It's there for auditing and archiving. I can't even get rid of it to go and turn around and demo to somebody else later. Whoops. And so yes, not on people's phone. it will just say, oh, so let's see. If we schedule an appointment at a specific time, the appointment reminder doesn't say a specific time. The appointment reminder will be determined by the appointment type. The script is determined by the appointment type code. So if one code warrants having an appointment date and time included in it, then that's how it would be scripted. It would include in the message the date and the time of the scheduled appointment. But if some appointments are a class, or if some types of appointments, just require somebody comes in before the end of the month, or walk in, sometimes we have to deal with that. So we do expiring benefits. So those can be scripted accordingly to use or not use whatever data we get in the file. So it's going to be a state decision how different types of messages are scripted. And import a set of phone numbers. Yes, each authorized user will be able to do that as well. Import a set of phone numbers through Excel and message that group. Yep, that would be, you're creating your own separate subgroup that's not affected by the statewide updates. And we can teach you in training how to do that. It is actually very easy. If they're not active on the program, a lot of our WIC agencies actually also include recently terminated. They include another file that's recently terminated, or termination reason and date. And so in the same manner that you can filter on your active WIC for like appointment date or status or your category or something, some do the same and include the termination reason and termination date to kind of reach out to people and encourage them to come back. So that will all be dependent on what data we get.
Okay, and that looks like the end of the questions, Kim. Thank you for kind of going. I know everyone, we went few minutes over, so I want to be respectful of
I'm
time.
sorry.
Oh no, that's fine. They're good questions, and get them answered now while we have a captive audience, so thank you. So I think we will kind of end the presentation here, but if anyone kind of thinks about this, as we continue to go along with everything, I know questions will come up with training and everything, definitely just send a message to myself at the state office, and I can kind of funnel them to Kimberly. Kim, sorry, too many Kimberlys, but I'll funnel them through and then get answers, or if I can answer them myself, I'll do that. So I'll let everyone go. I think I'll hand it to Karen. I don't know when you want everyone back. So other than that, just thank you everyone for your attention.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And thank you, Kim.
Okay, I have 11 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get started again. I have the pleasure of introducing Carol Hayes, who's going to be talking to us from Medline. Medline is working with both MCOs, Amerigroup and Iowa Total Care, to facilitate breast pumps for the state of Iowa. So I will let her introduce herself and her role in Medline, as well as talk to you a little bit more about the program for receiving pumps for MCOs. I'll turn it over.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. As Nicole said, I'm Carol Hayes. I am with Medline. I am the manager of the transitional care team here at Medline. And really what our role is to work with case managers and the health plan and their providers. So in this case, the WIC offices and all of you, to help you manage your members and kind of bridge that gap to better member care and satisfaction. On the call with us today, we have Scott Farrington. He's our National Sales Director. He works with both MCOs here in Iowa. We also have Jessica LePage. Many of you probably have met with her or spoken with her already in the past. And then Connor Shanks. He is our Market Sales Director, and he right now covers Amerigroup of Iowa and will, effective 2022, be covering also Iowa Total Care. So we have a couple quick slides we're going to go over, and then we're going to open it up for questions for you. So to start, our Start Well program is really, this is going to kick in once mom requests that breast pump. We have a team, a dedicated customer service team that is ready to take the call. They do all things mom and baby related. They are there. We have a dedicated Iowa, AmeriGroup of Iowa telephone number, as well as an Iowa Total Care telephone number. So here we're gonna, I did share the slides with Nicole already, and she is going to share them with you as well. So we do have Jessica. If you ever have any questions, Jessica's going to be your go-to person that you're going to want to reach out to. We can help you, she's going to help you if you need folders, if you need literature, anything such as that. Jessica's going to be your guys' go-to person. She works with all the AmeriGroup case managers, all of the Iowa Total Care case managers, and in the event that she's not available, Connor will be available, myself will be available, and Scott as well. So as you can see, you have a very hearty team here ready to help you right out the door. And then I just wanted to show you a little bit about the breast pump. This is going to come. So we have some folders that we're putting together. All the information that you're seeing here is going to be in these folders. Some of you already have them. Others, if you want them, please request them. We have them. Jessica has been working diligently at getting folders together. I think, gosh, she's put together probably over 200 folders, I'm going to say, and she could nod and agree or put something in the chat, but it's been a lot of folders. And what we're doing, our goal is to meet with all of the WIC clinics and even your providers. So the WIC clinics, maternal health, whoever your OB clinics that you partner with, anybody that you're out there, we want to get the word out that these breast pumps are here and ready for both and available for both MCOs. I'm going to show you a little clip. We've had a lot of questions about the breast pump, and we have a quick little video, and it's going to walk you through the breast pump. So I'm just going to pause and play this real quick.
Breastfeeding your newborn is an important part of building a strong connection, and it provides your baby with the nutrients that they need in this developmental phase. Designed to meet mother and baby's needs, the Medline Double Electric Breast Pump offers 9 adjustable suction levels with single and double pumping capabilities, ensuring a comfortable and personalized experience. This lightweight pump comes equipped with all of the necessary elements that you need to pump easily and on the go. Before using your double electric breast pump, it is important that all pieces are properly cleaned with soap and water. Non-electrical components of the pump are dishwasher safe. Do not clean the electric portion of the pump with water, wet cleansers, or wet sponges that could damage electrical components. To assemble your pump, begin by snapping the membrane into the valve, making sure that it lies completely flat. Attach the assembled membrane and valve onto the pump body tightly. Secure the silicone insert into the breast shield, then connect the breast shield to the pump body. Place the cylinder inside of the pump body and attach the cylinder cover, making sure that it locks into place. Connect the tubing to the cylinder cover. Then screw one of the 4 bottles included onto the pump body. For single breast suction, connect the other end of the tube into the port on the right side of the electrical pump. For dual suction, connect both tubes to their respective cylinder covers. Then connect the opposite ends of the tubes into the connector. Once these have been secured, use the third and longest tube to attach the connector to the port on the right side of the electrical pump. Once the tubes have been connected, the pump is ready for use. Begin by washing hands thoroughly. Then, lie or sit in a comfortable position, holding the pump in whichever way is most convenient. Place the silicone insert of the assembled product over the center of the breast. To start the pumping cycle, press the power key. The LED screen will light up, signaling that the pump is on. The mode key will allow for switching between single and dual modes. This suction control pump automatically begins in low suction on stimulation mode level 1. Suction increases every 45 seconds and stops at the lowest expression mode, level 5. The buttons on either side of the pump can be pressed at any time to override automatic timing and will adjust to any suction level between 1 and 9 while the unit is running. Suction will not go higher than level 5 unless it is manually adjusted. Adjusting to a higher suction level can help gain efficiency to pump more milk in less time. Never adjust to a painful suction level and discontinue use if pain persists. A full pumping cycle runs for 30 minutes and then shuts off automatically.
Pretty cool, right? So we're very excited to share that video with you, and it's in the PowerPoint. It's something that you can send out to your members or your WIC members as well. So definitely a great tool. And then I'm just going to touch base real quick on what the portal looks like. So there's going to be, right, there's AmeriGroup of Iowa and Iowa Total Care. So there's going to be 2 different landing pages, and we're going to share with you the contact or the links for both of them. But it's really, you guys, this is very intuitive. It's very easy for the member to use. And, you know, if they don't want to call the order in, they can go right onto their portal and type in their information. They're just going to need their insurance information, their insurance ID number for both plans. So we get spreadsheets for both plans every week. So it's automatically uploaded into our system already. So they really just need to activate their account, and then they're going to need their insurance ID number, and then they'll create a password. And once they do that, it's going to take them to this landing page. And the only thing available on this page is going to be the breast pump. It's going to give some information on it, both different, same, you know, it's a little bit different wording, but same idea. So it's going to give them the breast pump. They add it to the cart. You go to the next, you're going to have checkout. It's already going to populate the shipping address as well. So the shipping address that we get from the insurance company is going to be what's uploaded into the portal already. If they wanted to ship to a different address, they can ship it to a different address right here. And then they just add it, and then they continue to the next screen. And oops, I'm going to go back and then it's going to pop up a order number. A couple things that I want to note. It does ship FedEx Ground. It ships from our Kansas City warehouse. So the day that the member or the day that the pump is ordered, as long as it's before cutoff time, it's going to ship the next day. So I'm sure this is going to be talked about, and a question that's asked a lot is about the warranty. We really recommend that the member waits until 30 days prior to ordering it, because the warranty is a 1-year warranty, but it starts from the day that the order is shipped. So if it ships 30 days prior, then that warranty starts. If it ships 6 months prior to mom had given birth, that warranty starts 6 months. So to maximize that warranty, we want to make sure that we're at that 30-day mark. And remember, it ships next day, so it's going to be very, very quick. And then just real quick, and then I'm going to hand it over to Jess, and she's going to show you some of the folders. But it comes with in the breast pump package is our pump user guide. So this is also in our folder. It's going to come in English and Spanish. So these folders that I'm talking about, and Jess is going to show you some good examples of them here in a second. It's going to have one of these. We also have our breastfeeding education. We have culturally specific options. We have these only electronic at the moment, the culturally specific options, with the exception of Spanish. So we have it in English, and we have printout in Spanish. And then here's Iowa Total Care's resources. they have what we call a giant postcard. So this is what they send out to their moms. And this is what is also in the folders. All the information, all their information, how to get that breast pump, how to, complete the fields or call customer service. We've talked to case managers. We've been meeting with case managers from both plans for the last month and doing touch points with them each month and sometimes twice a month. And they said, if some of them call in the orders for mom themselves, and it literally takes, they said, 3 to 4 minutes because it's so easy. It's so intuitive, you guys. So that's the Iowa Total Care resources that's in the folder. And then we have the AmeriGroup one as well. AmeriGroup has the Pregnancy and Beyond resource guide that we have in each of the folders. And it's also going to state, they have a little, they have a page, I can't remember what page it's on, but it'll tell you exactly where to go and how to order that breast pump. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to hand it over to Jessica right before we do any questions, just so she can show you what is in the folders. And if you guys click up, I don't know if you see everybody, but if you want to see just Jess, if you click in the top right-hand corner and click on view, you can click on speaker view and you'll see Jessica, just Jessica, and you'll be able to see the folders and what's in it. We have just a couple minutes, Jess, you can.
It'll be real quick. So basically, these are the folders that you would receive in the mail. We can send them directly to your office or to your home, and then you can hand them out to the members, the moms, or case managers as well. So basically, you'll just open it up, and on one side, it'll have a few different things. Basically, Carol has gone over all of these things throughout the presentation, but the big thing is the welcome letter that you guys will receive. This also has the AmeriGroup and Iowa Total Care numbers, those direct numbers for those members to call in to place their orders or if they have any questions. So this is just a nice snapshot of all that information for you guys. It'll also contain the congratulations on the new baby, the big, Carol said the big postcard, and one side is English, one side is Spanish. And that also will have the information for the Iowa Total Care members. You'll also receive the breast pump info card. So this basically gives you all the information on the breast pump and then how to order it again. Iowa Total Care has also sent us some information that you will receive on how to start smart with your baby. So how to get started on all the great education that they provide for the moms and the babies. And then also some screening recommendations and things like that. So both of those will also be in your folder. And then again, this is the best piece, I think. This gives you all of the information on the mom and baby, on the breast pumps, any information that you would need to know about breastfeeding. It's a nice large 3-fold piece of lit, and then also some information on replacement parts and things on the back. So this is a great tool for all of you as well. And then you'll also receive that in Spanish. And if you want the folders, you can also say whether you would want Spanish and English or whether you would want more of one or the other. Just let us know. And then last but not least, again, what Carol mentioned is the AmeriGroup literature. Again, some great literature all around on breastfeeding and new moms. And then on page 7, which is right in the center, right down here, you will see it shows the number or the email also to call for those AmeriGroup members. So again, these are all really great items that will come directly to you that you can hand out in these nice folders. We'll put these all together for you and send them directly to you. So again, please feel free to reach out to me at any time. Give me a call, send me an email. I'm really glad to help. And we're really excited to have all of you.
Thanks, Jessica. All right, well, that's all we have on our side, you guys. Unless Scott or Connor, if I missed something, please jump in. Otherwise, we will open it up for questions and hand it back to Nicole.
I'll just say we're super excited to start working more closely with you guys. We're excited that both MCOs went ahead and got the deluxe pump for your moms. So I think it's a great value add that both of them brought to the table. That should really help Iowans.
Jessica, the first question that comes to my mind is how many local WIC agencies do you think you've already been in contact with?
Well, actually, we pulled up the map, and Carol and I have both been kind of going back and forth and trying to reach out to these WIC clinics. We've had some success. We have visited like 3 or 4 already throughout Iowa, but we want to make sure we touch base with all of these clinics. So if there's updated information, or if there's people on this call today that want to reach out, we would be more than happy to even come to the WIC clinic and bring you guys some lunch, bring the folders, go over all the information. We'll even bring you a pump that you can check out and have there at the clinic. So yeah, Nicole, if there's any updated information, some contact information, we would definitely be willing to take part in that.
Yeah, we did a divide and conquer with the map, and called half. She called half and I called half. So left voice messages for many of them. Some had reached back out, and we've been in contact with them. And we have a couple meetings set up and in the works of being set up too. We're just waiting to hear for some dates to come back. I see a couple questions. Oh,
yeah, I was just going to say, Angela just posted a good question. She said, would all the WIC clinics then get a breast pump to keep there? 100%. If we come visit you guys, and we would bring that breast pump, we'll go over everything with you, and you guys can leave it there. So that way, if there's moms that you need to do some troubleshooting with, it's all right there for you guys. So yes, 100%, we would leave a pump for you.
Mm-hmm. And then there was a question, do you receive any of the folder information? Do they receive any of the folder information directly, or are we relying on WIC to provide it? We are sending it to the WIC clinics, to OB offices, to the case managers. So we can't send anything directly to members. So we're working, that's why we're working with the providers, for the providers to get it. So I know that there's some providers, if Jess and I were in Davenport a couple of weeks ago, and one of the ladies was going to get us in touch with, there's actually an OB office right in there, and she's going to connect Jess with the OB office. And if you guys have providers that you work with in the area, please, 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 that's where we're asking for your help too. Help us connect with them so we can get that word out. The more communication, like we're really doing this grassroots approach right now to get the communication out to everybody, so moms know that they have this for them. And let's see what else.
There is the owner manual in the breast pump. When the mom gets the breast pump, it does have a full English and Spanish owner's manual in it also.
Okay, lots of great questions to you guys here.
Chris Wood asks, says our local agency would love to have a demonstration, but would we be interested in presenting at the Southwest Iowa Breastfeeding Coalition meeting as well?
Yes, we will present anywhere. We actually were just on a presentation last week with AmeriGroup. And like I said, we are open, and Jess and I are both in Iowa, so we can go anywhere. I mean, anywhere. I say that we're in Iowa, but it's not like Iowa's only 3 hours long, but we can still go anywhere, and we are ready to go. We're ready to get in the car and go. We have a lot of fun when we travel, huh, Jess?
We do, and we love it. We love to get in front of you guys. We're super excited about it. This has been a long time coming for Iowa, so yes, we want to get out there. We want to be in front of you guys, so let us know. Angela did ask too, do we have each local agency contact?
We do not.
Again, we do not. We've tried to reach out from what we can grasp on from the map that's online. But if you guys have that information and you want to send it over, that would be amazing. Again, we'd love to get in front of all of you. So if we can get every agency's contact, that is best case scenario.
I'm happy to share just a contact list of WIC coordinators. I believe I shared your information with all of them to say, reach out to them, but I can do it in the opposite as well.
Thank you, Nicole. That'd be great.
Yep. And then I see that question from Nikki about, does each agency get a pump or each clinic? So some agencies have 10 clinics. I don't know how that would work, but.
Oh, yeah, we would probably have to play that one by ear. I know like if there's 1 or 2, that would be okay. Some we might have to share. I'll let Scott kind of take that one over because he's been great at trying to make sure that we can get as many breast pumps out as we can in people's hands.
Yeah, we're doing our best to get them in. Our compliance department does want us to do personal meetings to turn over the breast pump. So I think we've been approved. I think you said you had 29 clinics. I think we've gotten that approved so far.
There's
And I still have a bunch waiting in my garage.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Jessica, I don't know what the FedEx guy thinks of Jessica.
Yeah, he doesn't know what to think.
Nicole, is that a pretty accurate number?
There are 20 local agencies, but clinic-wise, each agency has a different number of clinics. Your comment about depending on the situation makes a lot of sense because, you know, there's some clinics that stay in their same clinic or have 1 or 2 home offices, and then some that, you know, I could see easily traveling with a pump because they travel for almost all of their clinics. So just have staff take that pump with them. So that I believe that makes sense what you said, to do kind of case by case.
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, we're here to make sure it works as best for you guys and, you know, and that your moms all have access to breast pumps and are able to breastfeed.
There was also a question about a peer that was contacted by a mom about flanges, so that to receive the pump with a 21 millimeter flange, what does she do about the size if that were to be too small?
Each breast pump should come with 2 size flanges. And it's the only 2 that we have. Jessica, I don't have a folder near me, but are they 21 and 20? I'm guessing.
The 2 flange sizes are going to be 24 millimeter and 28 millimeter.
Thanks, Connor.
I know it doesn't even say on here, to be honest.
I think it's in the trifold one.
So currently we have only the 2 sizes.
Yeah.
At one point there was talk about if there were additional sizes needed, but so those are the only 2 sizes available that are made, correct? Like there wouldn't be an ability to order a different size from somewhere else, is that correct?
Correct.
Currently, yeah.
Okay, that's helpful. So 24 and 28.
Which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, hits about 98% of the need is, and I could be wrong on that. That's what we've been told.
Angela Becker is following up with that question, saying the pump received for a demo only has a 24 millimeter. The liner, is that the same millimeter? Angela, do you mean is the liner also 24 millimeter, or would that be a 21? Is that what you're asking?
I could double check.
Did you receive a 28 too? Did you receive both sizes?
I'm pretty sure they'll only receive the 24.
24.
Oh.
Yeah, it says the brush shield with insert cover, and it comes with 2 24 millimeter flanges.
Okay, so there's 2, yes, for both sides.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but they would only be the 24. So if they would need an additional size, I believe they are available, excuse me, on the Medline at Home. They can order those separately.
Well, let's follow up about this one, and I can reach out and communicate.
Yeah, I was gonna say. And again, we can kind of go on based on case to case basis too. So if there is, if you have a member that is needing a different size flange, or if it's not working properly, or whatever the case may be, you can also reach out to me directly, and I can take care of it for you, and we can get you the right information.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming to speak with us. We do have Lauren Renner from AmeriGroup on with us. We were intending to have both MCOs available today. However, there was a conflict in scheduling emergency type situation that happened with Total Care. So we are going to turn it over to Lauren, who's going to talk a little bit about AmeriGroup's mother program. So thanks again, everybody from Medline, for joining us today.
Thank you all. Look forward to hearing from you.
We'll stick around for Lauren in case there's any questions.
That would be great. Thanks.
All right. I lost my screen here. Sorry, give me 1 second.
Looks good. Actually, it's there. Your slide is there.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, morning, everyone. I'm Lauren Renner. I am a community relations representative with AmeriGroup Iowa. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here with you all this morning. I do see a lot of familiar faces and names on the screen, so good to see some of you virtually that I've met before. Some of you may have connected with my colleagues in the past, so some of this information may be a refresher or hopefully some new helpful information. So I am going to discuss the different websites, phone numbers as I go through. I'll be sure to paste all of those in the chat at the end. So if you don't get them noted down as quickly as I click through some of these slides, no concerns there. And then I'll be happy to answer any questions as well. So just to start at the beginning, AmeriGroup Iowa is one of the 2 Medicaid managed care organizations that provides the Medicaid health benefits to those in Iowa's Medicaid program. So Hawkeye, Iowa Health Link, and Iowa Health and Wellness. We have been serving members in the state of Iowa since 2016, the beginning of managed care. We do cover the entire state, but DHS is who determines eligibility. So as I'm sure you all know, when the state determines eligibility, member will be assigned to one of the 2 MCOs, and they have up to 90 days to make a change or to stay with the organization they were assigned. As a separate note, we are currently in an open choice period. So if members have a reason or a desire to change, they can do so at this time by contacting Iowa Medicaid Member Services. But this discussion often leads to questions of why would someone choose or how would they choose? The first thing I always recommend is that our members take a look at their provider's network. So essentially what companies or insurance are their providers accepting. We do have a Find a Doctor tool on our website. You can always contact those providers directly. But the next piece of advice I share for our members is to then review each company's value-added benefits or our perks. With AmeriGroup, our members have access to many different perks or value-added benefits, and this is what I'm excited to share with you all this morning. My very favorite perk to share about is our Healthy Rewards program. Simply, Healthy Rewards is a debit card incentive program where our members can earn dollars for completing certain healthy activities or going to certain appointments. Our pregnant members, new moms, and babes have really great opportunities to earn funds. So to start earning funds, our members must enroll in the Healthy Rewards program. This process is relatively simple, and they can do so a number of ways. They can call into member services. They can call to our Healthy Rewards team directly. That number's at the bottom of the page. Or they can go on to our secure member portal into the Benefits Reward Hub and enroll by a simple click of a button. The Benefits Reward Hub is what you're seeing here on your screen. This is exactly what a member would see when they log in after they're enrolled in the program. Once enrolled, members can earn funds for different health visits and activities. And examples that would be applicable to the members and participants that you're working with would be the prenatal and postpartum check alone can earn a combined $75. Taking that baby to all of their wellness exams for that first year is another $50. Completing an annual health risk questionnaire, $25 per member. And then our members over the age of 2 going to their annual wellness checkup is another $25. So that's a very quick run through, but as you can hopefully hear, there are a lot of great opportunities for our members to earn funds. And there are many options beyond moms and babies as well. So on the screen, you can see each of these rectangles with the different activities and the earned amount options. So when our member logs in, they will see what they are eligible for. So if it hasn't yet been a year since their annual wellness visit, that pod would drop off, but it would reappear at that year mark. In the upper right-hand corner would show their balance of rewards that have loaded on to their account. So the sample account has not yet earned any dollars, but after they completed their annual wellness visit, for example, and that claim hits our system, $25 would load into that account. So all of the activities are claim triggered, with exception to the postpartum checkup. As you all probably are aware, that's universally billed here in Iowa. So our system isn't able to differentiate those specific activities. So our members would want to self-report that by simply calling in. So then the reward dollars earned can be redeemed for gift cards. So some of the retailers you can see are here on your screen. Our members have the freedom to select which retailer is most beneficial to them. Some are physical gift cards mailed and some are digital gift cards. One of my very favorites is the Amazon option. So that convenience delivered right to your door. Sometimes I wish I didn't have that app on my phone for that convenience, but that is really an exciting option for our members. There's other really exciting options too, like Uber. And these are always subject to change. We are currently in the process of adding a new offering, the Bye Bye Baby Store. So our members just want to keep a lookout on their portal and select what would most benefit them. So we do offer many other value-added benefits. And a few I would like to highlight are our dental hygiene kit. So all of our members are eligible for this kit, which includes toothbrush, toothpaste, educational materials annually. And our members can access this by simply calling into member services, or they can also access that on their secure member portal benefit reward hub as well. The member services information, the key contact information is available on your screen, or hit login to access that portal. Another perk that our members often are excited about is the Weight Watchers benefit. So our adult members can earn can receive a 13-week voucher for Weight Watchers, and this can be accessed by simply calling member services. And another great option for our members is our 24-hour nurse line. So 24/7, 365, our members have access to call in and chat with a nurse to discuss some of their needs. Excuse me. Another benefit worth mentioning that is not technically considered a value-added benefit, but it is very helpful to our members is transportation. So any of our Iowa HealthLink Medicaid members are eligible for transportation to their medically necessary appointments or to be reimbursed mileage. So our members would need to call in to Access to Care, the transportation reservation service, 2 days or greater prior to their appointment to arrange that ride. And for members requesting reimbursement, they can call up to the time of their appointment. There is no longer any logs or forms that need to be completed. And the nice thing is the reimbursement does go to the driver. So if it's a friend, a family member, a neighbor, advocate who's driving them, they can be reimbursed. I do also like to point out that our minor members that are between the ages of 12 and 16 can be transported without an adult present if there is a minor consent form on file. We have received some feedback in the past from members that have found this convenient when their kiddo is able to possibly be transported to an appointment and mom then meets them there coming straight from work, kind of saving some of that transportation time. So once again, not a value-added benefit, but definitely a perk worth, or a benefit worth mentioning, excuse me. And then the final thing I did want to mention today is Live Health Online. This is a telehealth service available to all of our members at no cost. I think right now, especially, that telehealth service is becoming ever more popular and convenient. By no means is this meant to replace primary care or compete with that. It is just another option that our members have for them at the convenience of the app on their phone or by logging into a computer screen. So they would just need their member ID information to create their account, and then they can video chat with a provider. I did provide these flyers to Nicole in advance, so hopefully you got them along with the invite, or maybe they'll be shared at the conclusion of the call. So I really And then as you heard from Carol and the Medline team, the very most exciting perk I think that we now offer new for 2021 was the breast pump. So we're very proud to be the first MCO to offer that to our members starting back in January of 21. And just to highlight and reference back to the eligibility piece, any of our pregnant members are eligible for that pump from when they're notified of pregnant in our system up through 6 months post-delivery. So if you have any questions, we'll be here happy to answer. Once again, thank you for this opportunity to present and share this information with you. I will be sure to drop my information as well as all of those phone numbers, web addresses, links into the chat. I will pause stop my sharing so I can see the chat to see if any questions came through. There we go. Wonderful. Or feel free to unmute and ask me and we can kind of chat. So.
I don't see any yet. I'm glad you clarified about the eligibility period for the pumps because I know we have had some questions about if they fall off Medicaid at 6 weeks, where's the eligibility for the pump? Good.
Yes, thanks for bringing that back up. So they would still need to be an active Amerigroup member. So if they're active with us, it goes through that 6 months time frame. But if they lose their Medicaid eligibility at any point, unfortunately, that value added benefit would no longer apply.
Okay, great. That's good to know. So if they do need to do it in that first 6 weeks, that's good information for them to share. I have had a question about if they have the health and wellness plan and if that provides a breast pump. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I think I am.
Yes, the Iowa Health and Wellness plan versus the straight Iowa Health link is my understanding correctly?
Yes. Yes.
My understanding, let me just double check something really quick.
Okay. That's one of those ones where I'm a little bit gray on it, so I wanted to make sure.
Hey, Lauren, it's Erin.
Yes, thanks, Erin.
I think in Medicaid, if you are a pregnant member, you are automatically moved to Iowa Health, the Iowa Health link, because that is a qualifying event to be on regular Medicaid, and the income requirements for pregnant women to receive Medicaid are higher. So if they were a health and wellness member and they became pregnant, they would most likely get bumped up to the Iowa Health Link membership for full Medicaid benefits.
Okay, wonderful. That makes sense.
Okay. Sorry, Lauren.
No, thank you, Erin. You were who I was going to double check on that eligibility piece too. And essentially, I mean, if they are identified as pregnant in our member on that eligibility file that goes over to our friends at Medline, that would be what would trigger that as well. So thank you, Erin, for those additional details.
And one more thing I'll quick interject again is if you guys could encourage your mom to wait to 30 days prior to giving birth to order their breast pump, just to elongate their warranty on the breast pump. Would be great if the WIC counselors could help us with that too.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Why not get the most out of your warranty? I know our WIC agencies are working to educate women about breastfeeding and being successful and pumping and that kind of thing. So I think it's nice to have the pump prior to delivering, but I think we need to make sure women aren't thinking they need to necessarily for sure carry that pump with them to the hospital and start pumping as soon as they have a baby. So just to have it there as a resource, but not that they need to be pumping after every feeding or something like that, I think. So I think that's good that you have all the educational brochures that I've kind of pieced through a little bit that talk about things like that. There is another question in the chat from Angela Becker that says, what does the warranty cover?
It covers the electronics on the unit and defects. So not the wear and tear parts. But it is a closed system, so the tubing will stay clean for the moms. The moms don't have to clean the tubing like you would a open system.
Anything else? Oh, thank you, Lauren, for sharing that. Anything else anybody can think of that while we have all of these experts to answer our questions? Well, I will make sure and put together all this information for the contact information and share that share the address or the contact information, I'm sorry, for the WIC agencies with you, Carol and Jessica, so you for sure have that and can start making more contacts. But if you have any other questions for them, contact them at the information you receive. And thanks again to you all for joining us today. It's been really informational.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Okay, Karen, I think I'll turn it back to you for our next point on the agenda.
Well, Brandy, if you just want to go ahead and I'll turn it over to you.
Sounds good to me. Bringing the annual results of the help desk survey is one of my favorite things to do each year. I know that I'm also probably standing between you and lunch, so I will stay within my allotted 15-minute time slot here. Let's see, I'm going to try to share my screen so I can give you some visuals. There we go. Okay. So are you now seeing a pie chart? Okay, good. All right. A little bit about this year's particular survey. This was a strange year, as everybody knows, and not just because of the pandemic, but also because as we shifted back to the state office, that caused some different changes in the department that have affected some of the things that we made as improvements for 2020, which I'll point out as we go through. So some of the pieces that we talk about, the questions we structure in there to see how you feel about the improvements we made based on feedback from the prior year. Some of those, we made the improvements and now those improvements are kind of in flux. Taking a look at overall, you can see from the pie chart there that we had 121 responses this year, which is great. That's up from 107 last year. So I think this was a fantastic response. We have a good cross-section of who responded in the agencies. And let's see, the survey was open July 15th through the 31st, which is the same schedule we've stuck to, and every year we've done this so far. And on that we ask, in the past 3 months so that it's fresh, have you contacted the help desk? And you could see that most had. All right, so this is the first one to really focus on here, I think, today. When we're taking a look at this one here, we're asking, how did you contact the help desk, right? And we're seeing that most use the email, which is great because that is what we've been trying to promote. As you know, we've been talking about that the past few years, past few surveys. And then moving on, we ask a little bit more detail on that. And in this particular question here that you're seeing, we have asked, has your call been routed correctly? And that kind of stems from our 2019 survey. We've been keeping an eye on that. And here largely, of course, this is consistent with the prior question. Most said they hadn't called, so, which is true because it's mostly email. And those that did call, though, overwhelmingly between these two pie pieces felt that they were routed appropriately. So that's a good thing. All right, so we also asked, this is another one of our core questions because we like to take these core questions and see how our progress is going year to year. And we asked if the response was handled in a timely manner. And here we're seeing a good response that overall people are feeling that their issues are being handled in a timely manner, which is exactly what we want to see. Okay. Getting down to this one. All right. We asked, this is another core question. We ask how you rate the service. In the survey, when you're looking at these different columns actually have a Gradient from, I think it's great. This doesn't really have a label, it's kind of in the middle, and this one down here is needs improvement. So if that helps to see what the options were there. So most indicated that the service from the help desk is rated as great over here. And then there's some in the middle over here. And then we have a few who feel that there's still some improvement that could be made. Overall, with the year we had, I think this is really good, but where there's always room for improvement. So in looking at this, our action step for the next year coming out of this is looking at our help desk refresher trainings that we started last year that I think drove some of the improvement here, to continue those so that we can make sure that all the state agency staff who help provide help desk support have consistent support and know all the issues that are taking place. So that's our first action step coming out of this year's survey. And the next question here on the survey took a look at help desk communication, in which ways the help desk communicated with you. And this was a check all that applies. So there's not going to be a direct 121 responses. So from this one here, we have an action step coming out of this. This is one of those pieces that are kind of in flux with that move back. As you heard earlier in the year, the program publication Friday Facts has been discontinued. And while that's not a help desk publication, we did include information from the help desk in it regularly. So our second action step will be this year too. In the next year, figure out, look at ways to best communicate the content we would have contributed in the Friday Facts via email in some way. So that will be the action step we're taking on there. Now I'm getting into the questions we asked to kind of gauge how we're doing on the changes that we did make based on the prior year 2020 survey. And in this section, the first thing we were asking about, we were looking at, I mentioned it a minute ago, we started doing that cross training really in our team meetings on a regular basis. And here we were asking, do you feel that you've noticed an improvement in the consistency of support and communication? And we're really happy to see that a large percentage did. So that's exactly why we're keeping that action step in play for the next year to increase that. And hopefully we'll see even more improvement by this time next year. And then our next one had to do with the Friday Facts again. And we were adding that information. The information was kind of reinforcing when to call, when to email, when you needed support. And we were asking here, do you feel you know how to contact the help desk appropriately, whether it should be a call or an email? Most people did. So we're feeling pretty good about that. We recognize there still needs to be a way to reinforce that once in a while. So again, that goes back into figuring out how to keep those pieces out there with the Friday Facts not being in play. All right, and then this is a follow-up on the prior year survey where we were asked to provide the phone tree through email, and we put it on the WIC portal as well. And here we were asking, did this meet your needs? So we put it out there as requested, and did it meet your needs? So calls to the state phone line have undergone changes a couple times in the past year. Based on the changes the department made as a whole, and while we moved to an automated routing model late in 2019, and now we're shifting away from desk lines, and this is kind of driving some more change again, how the phone lines are managed. So at the time of the survey, most hadn't called the phone line, as you saw earlier, but those who had called reported being correctly routed. So at this point, since this is all sort of in flux with the phones, we're looking at what changes are being made on a department level, and we'll update our documentation accordingly after all the changes have been completed. And then another action item that we took away last year was to make some changes in the state office to try to improve the coverage of the help desk Monday through Friday during the normal IDPH business hours. And then we asked the question, see how that's going, Have you been able to receive assistance as you need during those hours? And the majority have said yes, which is excellent to see. Okay. Let's see, that's the end of the survey. So I'm going to stop sharing that and give you some other information from the open questions that we collected. I can figure out how. All right, stop share. Great. Okay, so some of the recommendations in the open comments area that we received that we talked about and looked for what action steps could we pull out of that. There were a couple comments about focus being complicated and difficult to learn, and it is. It's a very large program system, and we understand that. So an action step for this next year, we're looking at exploring options for training. Also, there was a request to provide an other option for sending emails to the WIC help desk in the documentation that's out there to help guide how to best address your issues. And the comment that was included said that staff do not know what to do if their issue is not one of the listed issues. And so this is a super easy action step. Yes, we'll update the documentation with this clarification. Another comment that we received was sometimes emails to the help desk take a while to reply. I understand sometimes it's extremely busy or people are short-staffed, but improve response time. And for this, we're implementing an action step to start sending an email to say that the request was received and give you an estimate of how long it will take. Some of these things do by nature take longer because we have to pass them off to a different area to handle. So that should at least close the gap a little bit so you know what to expect and it's not just a mystery. So those are the action steps we're looking at. I did pull out a couple of kudos that were in there because it's always great to hear positive comments. We heard great help, very professional and courteous. I've always found the help desk very quick and helpful, great staff to work with, and the timeliness of responses is very much appreciated. So I promised to keep it in the 15 minutes, and I think I have. So thank you for your feedback during this year's annual survey. We always take your feedback, concerns, and suggestions for improvement and work to find ways to better serve you. And this past year might have been challenging, and it led to some big changes that we're in the midst of working through. But we'll be looking for ways to incorporate your feedback as we adjust in the coming year. That's all I have.
This is Kimberly. I can wrap up. I just want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Appreciate all of your time and lots of good information shared today. So thanks for all your time this morning. I do see a question that popped up. Is the appointment summary report being fixed? I don't know if anybody can answer that question.
I submitted something and I'm still waiting to hear back. I have several people to answer to on that when it is fixed. It looks like it's just a couple days that somehow got missed. And once those have been rescheduled, they won't show up now. And that was clear back on the 12th and 13th. But it's still being looked into.
Now, I just had real quick, I noticed I had missed a comment earlier during the ZLR. There was a suggestion to change the drop down and focus from referred to WIC by, heard about WIC from. I would just mention that would be a change idea. That wouldn't be a field that we could just change ourselves, but something that we'll take note of. But also the suggestions to just kind of take a look at the drop down things to indicate for where they heard from, whether it be social media, print ad, internet ad, those types of things. So we can definitely take a look at that drop down list and make sure that kind of the things that ZLR is doing are a little bit more intuitive. I think some of those are in there, but we can make sure that we capture everything.
All right. Any other last minute questions or comments? Just have a couple more minutes. I see there was one question that came, or a comment about reports not coming. Didn't get reports from Bruce this month. I don't know, Bruce, are you still on? Do you have, would you like to comment on that?
The participation reports?
Looks like that's, yes, regarding the participation.
Yeah, I can send those out. You have access to the same data on Focus, but yeah, I'll send that out.
All right, and one last question that came in here. The WIC health appointments are now purple. Could the nutrition by phone be made a different color? And I don't know, does anybody know the answer to that? I'm not sure.
It's also controlled by the system, and much like the drop down, it would require an enhancement from the user group. We are several years out in the user group of a lot of changes that are already in the works being pushed through. There are prioritizations of those changes. I would say this one is pretty unlikely, but if it's something that as a state, everyone felt strongly about, we could certainly bring it to the group and get some feedback there.
All right, well, we are right at about noon here. So thanks everybody again for joining this morning. And if you have any other questions that you thought of, please send them our way. And yeah, have a great rest of your day. Thanks.